Everybody, it's your boy Angel. Hope and pray that you're having a blessed day. I know I am. I bring you guys something new. Just came out of the new set, guys. Vampires. Played this today at locals. Actually, ended up going X1. Got third with this. This is really, really good. I really like it. This is just only even, in my opinion, just a beta build, my alpha build as far as I'm concerned. This is just like I enjoyed this deck so much today. I'm gonna let you get to it, guys. Show you guys what I'm working with. This deck does a lot of nutty stuff. It really, really does. The only time I actually lost was when I bricked and drew all hand traps. So when I saw any parts of my engine, I actually just won. Like I said, matchups today. Played BA, Spy. What else I played? Pendulums and World Chalice. So I lost the World Chalice once again. Just drew nothing but hand traps, and that didn't really stop much because it didn't get to the engine. And every other matchup was pretty easy. So let's get into it. Show you guys what we're working with. Starting out, triple Vampire Scarlet Scourge. This is pretty much what you want to always normal summon or tribute summon. What it does is when it's normal or special summon, I can basically reborn one of my vampire monsters from the graveyard at the cost of 1,000. In attack or defense mode, it's just that monster cannot attack, but it's still good for chaining off, getting ring fighter, or sometimes you'll have your vampire Fraulein, which we'll get into later in the profile, engrave, and just bring that back as a nice defensive wall or offensive wall to push.
Fraulein is insane.
Yeah, that card's broken. That card's really, really broken. And now, speaking of which, triple Vampire Fraulein. This card's nuts. Like seriously, this card is ridiculous. This was amazing. What it does is when an attack is declared during either player's turn, whether I attack, my opponent attacks, I can special summon this out in defense mode. And what it does allows me to do during a battle, and it's not once per turn. I can pay my life points in multiples of 100 up to 3,000, and then boost another one of my zombie type monsters attack by that much. And this is not just my vampires, it's just my zombies in general. So, at one point I had like a 4,300 unit zombie attacking per game. It was just really, really good. It's like I said, this is so good. And once again, not once per turn. You need to run 3 of this. Trust me, guys, it's really not a matter of if. This card is just so good. I put it to you like this. If you play Ash, etc., whatever you're playing, this is still the best hand trap in your deck. That's just how good Fraulein is for you for this deck right here. So, triple Fraulein. 1 Crimson. What Crimson does is at the cost of 1,000 life points, I can basically protect my entire board, all my vampire zombie monsters, from destruction by battle or card effect. And what all my vampires do, and I neglected to say that, is if they destroy a monster by battle, during the main phase after the battle, in the battle phase, guys, I can reborn that monster to my side of the field, and that's just ridiculous, guys. That just came up so big. Your opponent's just like not able to plus like they want to, not able to get certain things. I remember I was testing this ABC when I first got my hands on the deck core yesterday, and one of my buddies couldn't even really get his buster going just because I'm getting his pieces back. And it's very, very relevant in this format where graveyard is very, very very important to what's going on with a lot of meta decks, Goki, etc., Spiral, whatnot. They all do utilize their graveyard and being able to extend from that. And so being able to take my opponent's resources as well as getting over their board is just amazing. So 1 Crimson and then 1 Red Baron. What this does is it's cheesy, but at the same time it's really broken today in a way. I can target one of my opponent's monsters and then one vampire monster I control and just switch control of them, whichever one I want. So like for instance, I can just swap out, if I have a really garbage, say Vampire Familiar, swap it out, take one of my opponent's boss monsters. That happened today. That was really, really good. Just the one of Red Baron though, just one of these each. I am considering bumping this up to 2 just for added wall of protection. It doesn't necessarily even brick because I do, trust me, get all my stuff out there. It's pretty consistent actually for what it does and the makeup of the deck. So as I said, the only time I bricked, it was not necessarily because of an engine issues, just because I drew all hand traps. So like I said, I'm considering bumping this up to 2, but I think 1 is fine for now. But the 1-to-1 ratio, this is what I'm trying so far, but you can do whatever you want to in the future.
And hey, Monster Reborns, I thought that was limited. I thought Monster Reborns was limited. All of a sudden, we have a deck full of Monster Reborns over here.
Yeah,
what the heck?
That's basically what it is. You're going to see how relevant that is as we get into the deck. So that's it for the big guys. On to your little guys. To me, this is the perfect ratio. 2 Familiar, 2 Retainer. What both of these do respectively is if they're special summoned from grave or special summon in general, you can pay 500 life points to use their effects. and respectively, Vampire Familiar pays 500 to search out any vampire monster you want, and Retainer pays 500 to search out any spell or trap of a vampire variety that you want. And so what each of them does is you can send a face-up vampire on the field or your hand to special summon these back from grave. So they allow you to cycle through, and they essentially just especially if you see this and this, it serves as a wall to pretty much get whatever kind of resources that you want. It's very, very solid, very consistent as well. I think they're very well designed. You know, not broken, but they are very, very good. So just the two and two to me, because you don't necessarily want to see them too much, but at the same time they are, you know, important for your engine. So that's it for the vampire monsters. Then next you play 3 Ash Blossom. This might become Ogre, no joke. This might become Ogre or Droll Lock in this format. I'll see how things shake out. And then this was just amazing today, you guys. Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. You know, go ahead, hit the Isold, hit any, you know, prominent, hit the double helix, hit any prominent extra deck monster that pretty much fuels entire engines in this format. You know, the Firewall, Dragon, etc. All the crucial extenders. Hit the Saryuja. A lot of those decks just cannot play, and I do mean just cannot play at all. This right here was just so good. Like, it's almost just a security blanket, knowing good and well. Like, if I have maybe one other disruption and Ghost Reaper, like, my opponent really just can't do anything, and I don't even necessarily have to open that well. And that's just kind of what the story was today. So, triple Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. I do recommend, guys, in this format, if you're not maining this, main this. Trust me, don't even sideboard it. If you hit your opponent's crucial monsters, you probably will win that game. So that's it for that.
I mean, as long as they don't have that random tech pot of acquisitiveness.
Well, yeah. But if that's the case, you just got to take your hat off to them for being good. Or lucky, whichever one you want to consider it.
Yeah, right.
Next up, the Shiranui package. Triple Solitaire. Just double Unizombie. Double Mizuki. This to me, once again, I would not change this. As I said, I will continue to experiment with the deck ratios, etc., and always find a way to improve it for you guys, my viewers. But at the same time, I think this would not change. I saw everything when I wanted to, how I wanted to, and I saw it in a useful time. Never break with it. And I just personally feel if you're seeing, you know, too many of this, too much of this, and not, you know, so you really want to open up with this. And then search these guys out as engine fodder. You don't necessarily want to open up with these all the time. It's not the worst, but at the same time, it's not the best. I just think the 3-2-2 ratio is perfect. Once again, guys, you can do it however you want, but that's what works for me. I don't see me changing those 7 cards. And that's it for the monsters.
How many monsters was that?
So I believe I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 25 monsters. If I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right.
25 monsters. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, correct me down in the comment section. Next up, 3 Vampire Domain. This card's busted. Number 1, you can pay 500 to give yourself an additional normal summon a vampire monster. And then number 2, when one of the things this deck does is pay heavy life points, but at the same time, this pretty much is just an insane way to get around that problem. What it does is if I inflict damage to my opponent with a zombie type monster, or with a vampire monster, I apologize, I gained that much in life points. And so I had a situation today where I was paying 3,000, gaining 56. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It was just insane. Like, this card is just so good, and it's per attack. It's not once per turn. Like, it's really, really good, guys. I might cut this to 2 just because I can search it when I want. But of the 2 vampire spells, I do find this to be just a tad bit more important than the other one I'm about to show you. As I said, I will experiment running it at 2, see how that works, because it is searchable. Maybe I could fit something else in there just that'll help me in this meta. But for right now, just running the 3 Domain. And then we're running the 2 Vampire's Desire. This card is really good. Like I said, just 2 for me here, because once again, in my opinion, seeing multiples of it, considering each effect is a heart once per turn, it can brick you. But just for me, I found this to be just right. What it does is, I'll read it right off word for word because it can be complex to explain. Activate one of these effects. Target one face-up monster you control. Send 1 vampire monster from your deck to the graveyard with a different level from that monster. And if you do, the target monster becomes the level of that sent monster in the graveyard until the end of this turn. Which is also very, good just because you want to dump one of your 6s. You already have a 6 on board and go into your main boss monster. Or other plays, whatnot, or just to get fodder in the graveyard. And then the second effect is target 1 vampire monster in your graveyard. Send 1 monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the target the monster. You can only activate 1 Vampire's Desire per turn. And so for that, at the end of that clause, as you're saying, you can only activate 1 of this per turn. Just 2 is fine for me because once again I can search it when I want it to and make it handy when I want it to see it, and not have the issue of opening up too many and not being able to actually do anything. So just double Vampire's Desire. Next up, 2 Allure to draw. 2 Called by the Grave. If you're not playing this, trust me, you should be. Best spell card today, Reasoning. My levels in this deck are all over the place. I played this, and honestly, anytime I resolved this, which was I don't think I didn't today have this ever called out by my opponent right. I just won that duel, so it was what it was. I saw this like every game. It's just an easy way to board your big guys. Easy way to just either get tribute fighter out or just get your links. Just an easy way to get your play started that your opponent really has a tough time playing around with my levels being what they are in this deck. So 1 Reasoning, 1 Soul Charge.
Most skillful card in the game.
We know. And 1 Monster Reborn. Back when I bought it back. Then lastly, 3 traps, 3 basically Infernity Barrier. My bad, I'm sorry. Vampire's Domination. What it does is if I control a face-up vampire monster, my opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, I can negate it. But the great part about this is if it's a monster effect that I negate, I gain that in life points for whatever I negated. So if I say my opponent is boar loading me, etc., negate, destroy the boar load, gain 3,000. Amazing. This was just awesome today. So that's it for the main. Onwards to the extra deck. Playing 2 Dhampir Vampire Sheridan. This card's broken. Number 1, when I have one of my opponent's monsters in my control, I can just overlay it on top of this and treat it as it's level 6. This is 2 level 6 monsters. If I have one of my own level 6s and something I stole from my opponent, just overlay it. Easy. Then what it does is I can detach one of my XYZ material, target 1 card my opponent controls, monster, spell, trap, doesn't matter, send it to the graveyard. Once again, doesn't destroy, etc., just sends to the grave. And then number 2, I can detach one of my XYZ material and then reborn one of my opponent's monsters in the grave. Also, it's just really, guys, this is just really solid. This was amazing all day. If you're playing this deck, trust me. I think 2 is good. 3 was just too much. I didn't need to see a 3rd, but this right here was just awesome. Excellent boss monster. And even though it's XYZ, Konami did a good job of making it relevant in today's day and age. Alright, next up, 2 Vampire Sucker. This card's broken. This is really good. Next up, Nightmare Package. 1 Nightmare Griffin, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Goblin, 1 Cerberus. I don't own a unicorn. If I did, I would play it. But this right here was good enough all day.
Would you play Mermaid and Ibly if you had those?
No, because I don't find them necessary. I think this is right here, like the only other one I would consider playing is the Goblin. Or not a Goblin, but Unicorn if I had it. Then 1 Borload, of course. Sorry, Yuja. Link Karibo. And then Cherry's Targets. 1 Dante came up because I played BA. 1 Dragon Buster. I both make Omega easily, and then it's also a Cherry's Target. And I also was playing I sold as well, but my buddy has it. And so my buddy Keanu's going to Chicago Regionals, and he needed it, so whatnot. So we let him borrow that, guys. So forgive me, and also need to get my hand on another Firewall Dragon. But other than that, this package was served me just right. Onto the sideboard. Played 2 Ogre. Great card. I'm considering, once again, I'm thinking about maybe playing 3 Ogre in the main. Once again, we'll see how this meta turns out. Really good today. 2 Artifact Scythe. 2 Gamma Seal. Once again, going second, going first. And for the monsters that I played, double Twin Twisters, get over back row. The double red reboot. I like seeing this 2 and 2 because sometimes you just want to get stuff off the board, and sometimes you can just aggro and just OTK your opponent right there with the vampires because they put insane damage on board. So being able to shut my opponent's traps down is really solid. Double Evenly Matched, and then triple Artifact Sanctum. Setting this going first, and then knowing my opponent. Put it like this. This is really solid, this meta, and I really wanted to try this out at my locals today because just looking how things play out, like if your opponent does not go into their extra deck, they pretty much just lose the duel right then and there. Especially at least in this deck, because I can just once again put insane damage on board. And so when I resolve this right here, my opponent can't go into their extra deck. I just put like game on board right there because it's also giving you a 2200 attacker. So that right there was just really, really strong. That's it for the deck profile, guys. Once again, if you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know, you guys, about how you think of the deck should run, things that you think I should do with it in the future, opinions, etc. I'm always open to new things. Once again, this is your boy Angel. Hope and pray that you have a blessed day. Make good choices and peace.